Hello everyone and a very warm welcome. Welcome to my channel Guiding from Within. I'm going to be looking and talking you through the weekly astrology forecast for March 22nd, Sunday March 22nd, all the way through to Saturday the 28th of March 2026. And I'm calling it Building the Bridge. So, the story of the week. So this week it's all about grounding and building that quiet strength from within. We're leaving the emotional tides of Pisces season and we're stepping into the early day of Aries, but it hasn't quite ignited in its full capacity yet. So it's not quite as fiery as you would expect it to be. It's steady, slow, and intentional. So imagine planting your feet on solid ground after you've been swimming for a few days and your feet are still a little bit unsteady. So we're not yet running, we're just stabilising. Let's take a quick look at the key transits of the week. So it's mainly lunar and sun action this week. So we have the moon changing signs and we have the sun making a few aspects to Saturn and Pluto. So let's start with the moon in Gemini on the 23rd of March on the Monday. We're probably going to be in our heads a little bit, overthinking, maybe a little bit of nervous energy. And then it's fairly quiet until the moon moves into Cancer on the 25th of March. And then we'll find ourselves more in our feelings, a bit more watery and emotional and sensitive. Also on the same day, we have the sun conjuncting Saturn in Aries and the sun sextile in Pluto in Aquarius. And then as we move further on into the week, we have the moon in Leo on March the 27th, and then Saturn will be sextile in Pluto on March the 28th. So it's a bit of a, not such a busy week as we've had, but there's still a few transits in there that we'll go over in a bit more detail. So firstly, we have the sun conjuncting Saturn on the 25th of March. This is going to be a bit of a reality check, additional responsibility perhaps, structures, things becoming a bit more serious, taking on extra workload depending on where it falls in your chart. So we're going to have a moment of clarity when things become clear, commitments will become real, and our boundaries and our structures will start to strengthen. And this transit really is getting your foundations right so that we can build on them in the future. So we need to take the time here just to stabilise everything and to get everything in its right position, ready to take on what's to come in the future. Okay, so on the 25th of March, we also have the sun sextile in Pluto. This is all about quiet empowerment, building that strength from within, that inner knowing, where that deep truth surfaces and you begin to reclaim your power in any areas where, it's quite a supportive energy with the sun sextile in Pluto. It's giving us that support, but we need to do something. We need to pull on that ourselves. So this is essentially the universe handing you the keys, but you have to do something to create that transformation. But it's quite a nice, strong transit. So let's just talk briefly about the moon and the transits that the moon is going through this week. So there's a bit of an emotional flow to the week. The moon starts off in Gemini, moves through Cancer and finishes off at the end of the week in Leo. So in Gemini, it's all about your thinking, your mind, and it's about mental clarity. But with that sometimes can come a little bit of nervous energy and overthinking. And then as we move into that Cancer energy in the middle of the week, we have more of an emotional grounding. We're in our feelings a bit more sensitive to what's going on around us. And then we finish off the week in Leo, and this is where the confidence really builds. So the moon guides your inner weather and it shifts from our mind to our heart, and then coming out the other end to courage. So weekly themes, it's all about gaining a bit of stability. We've been flowing in that water energy for so long now. We just need to find our footing a little bit and tread carefully, you know, get our balance back. We need to come through with commitment. We find our inner strength and that power building from within, emotionally grounding ourselves with that Cancer energy, and then building and finding that quiet confidence. So this week is all about building the inner structure before the outer leap. So let's just run through the week quickly on the sort of day by day and see what the focus is. So Sunday, Monday, we're all going to be in our heads a little bit. It's going to be about a bit of mental clarity. Tuesday, Wednesday we're going to be a bit more emotional, so we need to try and ground some of that emotional energy, let that flow through us. And then by Thursday, we're feeling empowered. We've got this deep empowerment rising from within us. And then by the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, that transforms or transmutes into that confidence as that rises. So the week starts off in thought and ends in fire. So which signs will be most affected this week? So we've got Aries will be feeling a little bit more responsible and getting some of that clarity. Cancer is going to feel like it's going to need that emotional grounding. Leo will get a bit of a confidence boost, and the Capricorns will find that they'll have some structural shifts. But everybody's going to feel the stabilising energy, but the cardinal signs will be the ones that will feel it the most. So that is your Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn signs. And how best do we work with this energy this week? So let's make commitments and strengthen those boundaries, organise ourselves and plan, ground our emotions and prepare for next week's momentum. This is the week to build the container, getting ready for the future. And some weekly affirmations may be: I honour my responsibilities, I strengthen my foundations, I trust my inner power or my inner knowing, and I move with intention. Take a moment just to reaffirm any of these during the week. So in summary, this week it's all about building, structuring, and then rising. This week is the quiet strength before the breakthrough. It's a week to organise, to commit, to strengthen foundations. It's not about rushing, it's about preparing yourself for the momentum that's coming next week. Build now, rise later. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful week. Much love. Take care. Bye.